Alright, I'm still getting set up here. Sorry for a slightly late start today. My allergies are making me so ill. Our tree pollen is excessively high. Grass pollen is high. I ended up being outside for a little bit yesterday inadvertently. And I really shouldn't have been. And I am paying dearly for it since last night. Tremendously. Oh. That started to come back. That's not good. Okay. No amount of Benadryl has been helping me in the past like 24 hours. It doesn't feel like it. So please bear with me. Alright, so we are on our 5th session of working on this guy. And we will get started here. When we last left off, we were working on our ground here. I do have a fan on. Hopefully it's not too bad. We actually had to put the air conditioner on as much as it burned my ass because I just couldn't with the windows open. You can see the layer of pollen all over the cars, even our windshield that was under the carport just from last night alone. It's horrible. So hopefully I'm not too nasally and you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know and I'll try to project a little bit further. I haven't been projecting very well the past 24 hours either. So we've got our acrylic yarn out. That's what I was supposed to do. Like, I'm forgetting something. So we are following along with the Bob Ross tutorial series, season 3 from the Joy of Painting with needle felting. And the link is now in the chat for those that want to see it in full. Even Windows 11 is like, today's pollen count is high. I could have told you that, motherfuckers. Oh, there goes my YouTube algorithm. Because I cursed too soon. Oh well. We won't expect this video to do well in views then. Okay. So we've got the link pinned in the chat now. We've done all of the previous 10 in this series so far. Originally was going to skip like 2 or 3, but we've done them all up to this point. And we still have a few sessions to go on this guy. I'm hoping we can get a stream in tomorrow with out shenanigans happening, but we'll see. If those expectations are possible. Oh my god, hold on. I'll be right back. I don't know if it was the cat howling or if Zuzu was howling, but somebody was not happy. Sorry. Zuzu's been doing this thing where he starts howling if my mom goes outside. But yeah, the mother-in-law's back, so all bets are off on any kind of normalcy. At least while she's here. Because life has a way of getting stupid. Oh fuck, Russell's gotta go to Oklahoma or Missouri tomorrow. Forgot about that. I'm not going with him. He might try to push it back to Tuesday. Neither one of us really got any sleep last night. I'm still kind of mad we had to put the air conditioner on, but I could not breathe and it was going to be way too hot in this house with the windows shut. And I'm really mad, but because it's nice outside. But I can't endure another night like last night. That was god awful. Felt like I was trying to breathe through water. It was terrible. My neck's mad, my back's mad because of how I had to eventually end up laying so I could get my sinuses to drain enough to breathe. Do not recommend at all. So when the mother-in-law gets back from running to the store, she's probably going to beep because she did it once already, even though Russell was sitting on the porch in front of her. I was like, why did she beep? He goes, I don't fucking know. He's like, I was literally sitting there staring at her. When she pulled in. Because we needed another bag of ice. We had an ice maker on the counter for a while, but then the ants got in it. And then Russell's like, I can't clean this properly. He's like, no, we'll just buy the ice. It'll be cheaper in the end anyway. Because we don't use our tap water. He was outside fixing my wind chimes. But he hasn't come back in yet, so I don't know if he's now next door helping the neighbor. Okay, so this is just our dirt that our grass field is gonna sit on top of. I got the water because I wasn't sure if I was gonna need it. My hands have not been good. My allergies got bad again and my hands got bad again, so like they've been real super dry. I did just put some of the stuff I have for him, but I'll tell you, trying to open some of those paint tubes yesterday really hurt my skin. Like, I got some blisters on my one finger. My skin was pretty angry. Skin on my hands is really sensitive though, so I'm not surprised. Not entirely surprised. I was surprised with how much they hurt right after stream yesterday. Expected a little bit. I did have to throw that one green away where the top just disintegrated because I couldn't do anything with the paint to keep it from drying out at that point. I mean, it happens. At least with those guys. I prefer the flip top squeezies to the twisties. But the flip top squeezies probably more than likely cost more to produce, so they're gonna cost more to purchase. I would imagine. No idea what that noise was. Unless that was Russell trying to kill some more wasps. They have been all over our porch for reasons. Was that Zuzu howling? Because by the time I went to go check on everybody, nobody was making any noise.
I did not hear, and I apologize for that.
Did you need to go over there and help her?
So far, she's been good. I told her to call me if she needs anything.
That can hang out up there. Okay. Wow, our bit rate's actually stable at the moment. It's like a miracle. Lately it's been insisting on being unstable, which I don't really understand, but okay. So were you able to fix them or no?
I restrung both of your flamingo ones. I fixed your mom's chicken one. And I restrung your seashell one to see how it goes.
Okay. I think we might be missing some of the seashells.
I think we're missing one. I could have sworn it was 3 on either end and 4 down the middle, but I can only find 9.
We got some like silly survivalist braided filament fishing line thing. We're gonna see how that goes on the wind chimes, because everything else we've had keeps snapping. Did you bring the table back in?
Still bringing stuff in slowly.
Okay. And I'm trying not to be too terribly fussy in this section. Just keep reminding myself that it is getting grass on top of it. So we'll have to see. Is that like grill smell coming from outside?
I can't smell things, so.
Oh.
Well, to be clear, I can't smell things. I have something covering my face, not because I can't smell.
Oh.
Just to clarify.
I'm not sure if I'm hallucinating, which is entirely possible. Or it could just be the way I'm smelling stuff right now. All right. So we'll work on this part's our grass. Because we need to have some dirt under our grass in case we have any breaks in that, so let the dirt show through. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna have to sneeze. I had a mask on, even in the house, because the house is drafty and dust and shit gets in through the cracks, so I was starting to feel a little bit more even. Not better, but even. Where I could breathe a little bit. And now that he's been in and out with the door open and the wind, I'm getting all stuffily again. Give me 1 second. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. This has been one heck of a day. Alright. So, let's get the next bit worked in here. Oh, my poor nose is just raw. Our tissues aren't that bad, but I might need to get a box of puffs. Or something, because these tissues that we have, they say soft on them, but oh no, they don't. These ones are starting to hurt. Which isn't too big of a deal when you only have to use a couple throughout the day. But I think I've gone through like half a box since last night. So not fun times. So we'll get this worked into here. Okay, so we've got a couple of thin spots up there by the doorway there. I think I do want to make sure we do have that one covered, because that could potentially be a section that we leave a break into. Quite possibly. Alright, so now let's see here. We've got another thin spot there. So that noise was the mother-in-law coming in and out. Constantly shaking her keys in her attempt to be quiet because she knows I'm live streaming. But my mom must have laid down for her nap, and that's why she's coming in and out of our door. I don't know where the fuck she's going now. think she was heading out anywhere until dinner time. Alright. Well, and now we're back down to being an unstable bit rate. At least we know it does go stable from time to time lately. I don't know why our connection's been so weird. We've got fiber. It's not dropping frames or anything. Okay. I'm hoping we have enough brown to get through this. So I'm suddenly not sure. I'm probably going to have to fluff more, because we do have quite a lot more brown to go, or I use another darker shade of brown that I have. It's not quite the same shade as this. I mean, I'm gonna have to fluff more of it anyway. So maybe tonight, after I get done doing everything else that needs dealing with, I can get around to doing that. And I actually get to sit down for a minute. Because I don't know if we are doing game night tonight. We didn't end up doing it last week. I think Russell wasn't feeling well because he hadn't really slept. And we were going to do it on Monday. And then we didn't end up doing it Monday because my mom wanted to watch something on TV. American Idol, maybe? I don't completely remember. It was something, though. Okay. I want to know what the hell I did to my hand. I've got like a scratch or something on it. Terribly sorry, I needed a cough drop. I realized after I went searching for it, I forgot to say something. The camera hub was still working this morning, so yay. That makes me happy. The only thing I had to do was change the focus, because this looked a little out of focus on the one monitor, and I can't leave autofocus on for this because it'll never stop trying to focus on my hand, and my hand's always moving, so that's not really gonna work.
How you feel, by the way?
I was okay till your mom kept coming in and out, opening the door, and then I started to get... Where'd she go now?
Oh, she's talking to Nancy.
Because she kept jingling her keys the entire time she was coming in and out.
Sorry.
I'm like, what are you doing, woman? Alright, I know the large color blocks aren't the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but they still gotta get done. In order for us to keep moving forward. So windy. So windy. Right, now I'm okay with the dirt sitting on top of these trees a little bit, because our grass is gonna cover the very bottom of these guys, I think. Or at least that's what I'm going to try to do. Like, I don't really need to see the bottom of these distant guys. Plus, we're eventually going to have that big tree that's gonna sit somewhere in here. And that will be covering that up. I don't know why everybody blows their horn around here, but it is maddening. Absolutely maddening. Hey, Boz. Oh, thank you. We're trying. I'm just glad the camera hub's working now. It makes getting the camera dialed in a lot easier. It's still a little extra dark up in here, but that's because there's so much dark up here Once we start getting the grass in, this won't be quite so light sucking. And how are you this weekend? Hope all is good. Hope you can hear me. I'm trying. The pollen is not kind this weekend. And I feel like it's making me super sick. But I didn't want to cancel. Not again. Okay, cool. Not cool that you're tired, but cool that you can hear me. Ooh, that you're tired. Sleep was not kind last night. I thought I was gonna have to pull a 24-hour plus. It's the only time I could remotely somewhat breathe through part of my face, as intended, was sitting up. But I'm like, my computer chair is not exactly stable enough or comfy enough to attempt to sleep in. I don't really have a couch or anything that I could have, like, crammed myself in a corner of. Ugh. Well, see, the pollen count for tree and grass, apparently, yesterday, today, and tomorrow is going to be in the red around here. And I didn't realize it was in the red yesterday and was outside for a minute here and there before stream and after stream. We're trying to get Nom Nom's girlfriend, Mimi. She's always meowing at me. So I named her Screaming Mimi. She's always giving me an attitude about something. We're trying to get her comfortable with us picking her up, in case she does have kittens. And we were toying with the idea of maybe bringing her in, but she would have to get fully vetted and all that first, but I don't know if that's going to be such a good idea to disrupt the cat dynamics yet again. But if she has kittens, we're going to have to try to get a hold of her and the kittens. Possibly turn them over to the pound. To keep them safe. And so we're trying to get her used to being handled. So I was outside with her for a few minutes here and there, trying to pick her up, trying to hold her for a minute, trying to pet her, talk to her, get her used to me. And while I was outside with her before stream yesterday, the wind kicked up, and I'm sitting on this chair in the backyard watching this yellowy green stuff just rain down out of the tree. I don't know if it was seed pods. I don't know what it was. It was just falling down. And I was like, really? It wasn't the little helicopter doodles. We've got those all over too. This was something else. And I'm like, ugh. I don't know if it was like the little pods falling off from the leaves sprouting or what. Yeah, and I'm just standing there underneath of it, looking at it coming down, and I'm like, oh, this can't be good. This is not good. And, as the day was going on, I started to get, like, the allergy sore throat where your sinuses are trying to drain painfully. And, or maybe that's just me. And, I was like, okay, great. So I wasn't really wanting to be that chatty yesterday afternoon in stream because my throat was hurting. And, as the night was going on, I started to sneeze a little bit, and I'm like, fuck. So I was taking Benadryl, and that didn't seem to be doing much. And then all of a sudden I wanted a blizzard. I don't normally want them very often. Number one, we don't get them very often because, you know, they're pricey. But I really wanted one. And Russell's like, well, alright. He goes, are you coming with me or am I just going to get it? Because I was starting to feel shittier. And I was like, no, I'll come with you. You're going to need help carrying everything. Because then everybody wanted something. And, as we drove towards the next town over, where the Dairy Queen is, I slowly started feeling worse and worse and worse. And the wind was kicking. And I'm like, oh my god, like, I blew my nose like 10 times in the car. I was like, it sounded like, you know, a fucking car revving while I'm blowing my nose. And, like, not much was coming out. I'm like, oh my god. By the time we get home, I could barely breathe through my nose. At all. I was taking ibuprofen. I was taking Benadryl. You name it, I was trying to take it. And then by the time I went to go lay down, every time I laid down and my head went sideways, the way my sinuses were draining, I could not breathe. Bear? Let your mom in?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell, guys. But he was in the other room. And he couldn't hear me.
Thank you.
But, ooh, what's burning? Something's burning. I think he burnt his English muffin. Yeah, you got like mega fog ahead today. Yeah, it's not pleasant. Like I was so upset because I could not breathe properly last night. I was like, part of me was like, go to the emergency room. I'm like, they're not gonna do anything, because it was getting pretty upsetting. And then I was almost crying, and I'm like, girl, don't cry. You're just gonna make it 20 times worse. And I'm not a mouth breather, so I can't sleep with my, like, purposely fall asleep breathing through my mouth. It doesn't work. Now, if I pass out and it happens inadvertently, that's one thing, but I can't deliberately do it. And, it devolved with me getting a towel and boiling water in our kettle. And I put toothpaste in the bowl. And I had my head over it, trying to get the minty steam to open things up. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. And it helped for a little bit. It, like, didn't necessarily open it up, but it stopped me feeling like I was drowning, I guess. Like, I could breathe through at least one side of my face. And I was like, okay, well, this is something. And then I kind of fucked around with that for like a half an hour. And I'm like, alright, let me try to lay back down. Second I laid back down and my head went sideways. Nope. I was like, god damn it. And the one side of my face, my sinuses drain better than the other. And I couldn't get comfortable. And I'm like, well, if I lay on the other side, I'm not going to be able to breathe at all, period. And, I was just so frustrated. I ended up getting back up. And I was sitting here trying to video edit because I couldn't breathe. Whenever I laid down, I'm like, oh, it's going to be a long night. It's awful. So then I did the toothpaste in the hot water like 2 more times. And then got some Vicks and did that in the hot water a 3rd time. And, ooh, buddy, I could feel that in the back of my throat. And I'm like, oh, I gotta be getting something in somewhere. Because I was like, oh, was this not a good idea? Like, And I was like, I got my ice bag and I filled that with ice and I was trying to put that on my face. I took some more ibuprofen because I'm like, because now it just feels like my face is inflamed. So I think I ended up laying down with like the ice pack on the side of my face that was the worst. Trying not to freeze my eyeball. And ended up laying on my one side that my sinuses don't drain so good. And I had to get my travel blanket and I balled it up into like an extra kind of pillow so that I wasn't like completely flat. And our bed's a squishy foam, so I can't just like lean against the wall, and we don't have a headboard. And I was like, I think I passed out for an hour on that side. Woke up. And I was like, I need to turn over. My hip is killing me. I can't lay on this side anymore. And the second I turned over, it started again. And I'm like, no. So my neck is mad, my back is mad, my hip is mad because of how I was laying. I did manage to fall asleep when I switched sides. See, I fell asleep around 3:30. I woke up around 4:30. I think I might have fallen back asleep by 5:30. It was probably before then, but... And then I started waking up. I woke up once and didn't know what time it was, but the sun didn't seem that bright, so I was like, well, it's probably like 8. And I fell back asleep, and then the husband started shuffling around. I'm like, what time is it? He goes, it's 10. I was like, okay. And we didn't know what time the neighbor was doing all of her yard sale stuff again today, 'cause she said she was doing it both days, and I'm like, shit. I was like, we gotta get up and go help her. And then he's like, oh, right, she said she was gonna do it after church let out, so she didn't have to deal with that till like noon. Did you burn your English muffin?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
It was very strong. Now, to clarify, I do feel better than I did last night, but I'm still wrecked.
Well, we might have been just funneling allergies in, or we might have RSV. Apparently that's going around. But it's weird that we both are feeling relatively better, having masked up and everything. So.
Well, I had to take mine off for stream, but as soon, we had to put the air conditioner on. Oh, is my mom's window shut? Because she had it open yesterday.
Did she?
Yeah.
Which window?
The one that the plants had been in.
Okay.
I believe that was open yesterday. When I turned around, I thought I saw it. Like, it burned my ass. It's like just under 80 outside. And it's breezy. So it's not so bad. But, like, we had the window. They are shut? Okay. But it burned my ass having to put the air conditioner on. But I'm like, these windows have to be shut. This is not working. So we had to get another bag of ice tonight in case it kicks off again, because I seem to be worse at night with it than I am during the day. But yeah, you could like draw in the pollen on the windows, and Russell just washed the one window on the car yesterday. So I'm like, ugh. Just see it on the top of his mom's car. Because she's in the driveway, not under the carport. All over the roof. I'm just like, this is gross. Like, I know trees need to do their thing. Like, I get that's how this works. But, I don't know what tree it is, or combination of trees it is, that is doing me in so bad. So I never had this bad in Jersey. I'd get a little stuffy if, like, the babysitter had us, like, collecting leaves or pine cones or whatever at the one park to do, like, an art project with. I'd be, like, kind of stuffy that night. But nothing like this. This feels like the trees are waging war. And the pollen forecasts I was looking at weren't saying what type of tree. It's just like tree pollen. I'm like, are they all ejecting their lovely goodness or what? So, I mean, we don't have that many pine trees around here. There's, well, not like directly next to our house. I mean, I'm sure they're around. Because there are forests nearby. Same here. It just says, hi pollen. But I don't know what pollen. Just pollen. Just pollen. The only thing it did say was ragweed 0. And I'm like, okay, Russell's like, well, it's not ragweed. Like, shut up. That's helpful. Because we have ragweed that grows in our backyard towards, like, the end of August, beginning of September. It starts to really kick off. Like, it gets tall. Like, above our heads tall. Like, 6 feet tall ragweed on these, like, woody stems. We keep trying to stay on top of it when we see it starting to grow, but that doesn't always work. But he got some new toys that will be able to deal with it a little bit better. He got some hedge trimmers that should be able to take care of that. No problem. We just have to make sure we're going out and dealing with it. And I'm so mad too, because part of me thinks this is definitely allergy and not something else, because we had rain. What day was it? Was it Tuesday? We had like rain and a severe storm potentially either Tuesday, maybe it was Tuesday. And the day after it was a little bit cool. It wasn't quite as terribly windy. And I didn't feel great, but I felt pretty okay. I could kind of breathe. I had a day where I didn't really have to have any Benadryl in me. It was wonderful. You alright?
Yeah, anxiety.
Absolutely wonderful. And then the next day, I guess it was Wednesday that I felt pretty okay. Because Thursday, as the day was going on, I started sneezing. Which isn't that unusual, but it was like 3 sneezes here, 4 sneezes there. At one point when I went to take Momo out, I started sneezing. Was sneezing the whole time I was outside with him. With like pauses in between the sneezes, but it was pretty steady. Was still sneezing when I brought him back in. I think I was up to like 8 sneezes in a row, and they were like full body from my toes to my throat sneezes. and I ended up pinching my neck on one of them. I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Did you ever take your pill this morning?
I can't remember. Probably not.
I know it was late and we had talked about it, but I didn't know if you actually took it.
Considering I wasn't able to eat until just now, that's partially why I'm having anxiety. Yeah, I probably missed it.
Okay. We're both not having a good day. He had a rough night too. He wasn't as crushed as I was, but his back was hurting him quite a bit. We don't know if it's the weather or if it's our bed. I'm sure our bed is playing a factor into it. We really need to get a new mattress. We're trying to find a mattress that we can afford and agree on. We do have a purple showroom now, but those guys are expensive. But we might wander in there one day and just sit on them and see what they feel like. I know I've seen people say that heavier people, the mattress wears out a lot faster. So like you have, I think they just started making like a plus size version, I think. But I've also been seeing advertisements for Fig, which I think might be a foam mattress, but it's more built for slightly heavier people. I just want a mattress that when I sit on the corner of it, I don't feel like I'm gonna roll off the bed. We didn't have that problem with this one when we first got it, but as time has gone on. And the normal springy mattresses, they always feel like they're digging into my ribs. And we ended up with the one that we did get because it was much less expensive for our budget at the time. And it was a lot more local and easier for us to get home. Dude was supposed to have a guy deliver it, and then something happened with his delivery guy. I don't know what. But our friend was either living here or was nearby, and he had his pickup truck, and we're like, hey, before we got our trailer. We're like, would you like $20 to help us get a mattress home? He would be oh so grateful. Now I'm hoping, we will see. I'm hoping to get some more work done on the flamingo painting this week. We'll see. I think I'm finally kind of happy with the clouds. This cloud looked really good. I could not replicate it no matter how hard I tried on the other ones. So now I was kind of like, well, we'll just go with it. And this needs second coats. I didn't get very far on that. But those clouds, man, they took me forever. And then our guy from yesterday, we still have to finish getting our base coats in. Like, we got our washes in, and I realized that was supposed to be pink. But, yeah, I'm working on that one slowly. This guy's gonna, I know he looks weird right now, but I need to have, like, a base coat down. Now, you can see the difference in the paints. This is the craft paint, and then this is the Arteza paint. It's got that weird shine to it, even watered down. It's, like, got this weird reflective thingy going on. I realized after I did this morning, I was like, oh wait, I think those are supposed to be like pinkish. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna try to do this one kind of impressionism-ish. But we're gonna go with the craft paint for it because I know the dry time on that. This shit was drying. I want to like the Arteza acrylic paint. I do. It just dries way too fast and it's way too glossy. I don't like it. But we're gonna try to do like the whole Starry Night colored line sky thing through the whole thing. I've never attempted that before. We'll see how it goes. I'd love to know what it did to my hand. I've got a line on it, and I don't know where it came from. Must have scraped it on something. Sorry, I was looking at these lines. I'm like, well, where did these come from? And I'm looking back at my sketch. I'm not entirely sure. It's okay. It can't be that important, right? So they're like, yeah, I was actually having a hard time seeing while it was wet where my edges of different colors were. Because it was just a glare. And that stuff was drying so fast. And I don't work that fast, so that's an issue for me. And I hate getting all of like the slow dry mediums and all that. I'm like, why can't you just dry slower? Why do I have to buy something else? I mean, I'm still trying to use it up. I actually like their acrylic paint on watercolor paper. I almost did that on watercolor paper instead of canvas. And then I saw that canvas and I'm like, well, you know what? I really need to use some of this canvas instead of the whole canvas hoard I've got going. So I was like, maybe we should just, you know, throw this on some, sorry, I'm stretching my leg out. Maybe we should just like throw this on some canvas. Oh, there it is. It's like, I know, I pulled out more fluff than this. I think it's funny that some of the bigger paint companies, like, I don't know if Liquitex is doing it, but I think Golden is, where now they're like making a big deal about putting out super matte artist paint, and I'm like, well, why didn't you just make it baseline matte and then make the glossy special? Like, what? Because I mean, most people seal their canvases. Most, not everybody, but most do. And they're always using these high gloss, like liquid glass sealant on them with like the little squeegee cards and all, so that they don't get brush strokes on it. And I'm just like, okay, so if people are going to do that anyway, why can't like the matte finish paint be the norm? So the truly funny part is that we're going to see this season again eventually as I work through the Happy Trees project. It's gonna be like, gee, didn't we do this already? Like, yeah, kinda. Kinda, sorta. Like, I actually don't prefer steeling in the high gloss. I usually go like semi-gloss, matte, or satin, just because I don't like the glare that comes off of it. So I feel like if you're sitting down and you want to look at it, or some people put lights over the top of their artwork, if somebody does that, then you're not really gonna see it. You're gonna see the glare. But that's just me. Maybe I just see glare worse than other people. You know, I'm the type of person that goes outside at night and everything has a ring around it, like light-wise. Like street lights, headlights, all of the lights outside all have this like starbursty halo around them. Which makes seeing outside at night kind of difficult. I have the worst lighting here. All you ever see is glare. Like, I like the aught lights, right? Like, they look great when you're using them to look to light stuff up. They've got like these like not day glow, like daylight bulbs in them, and they look pretty decent. But those lamps are expensive. Those are out of my budget right now. I mean, as you can tell, our lighting's not the greatest, but hey, we were able to get in the camera hub and I could make the camera look a little brighter through the camera hub, so, and we can zoom in and out and change the positioning. I'm so glad that suddenly started working. I don't know what happened to suddenly start making it work. I don't know if they did a patch on the camera to work with Windows 11 or what. That might have been what happened, because it did have an update for it. But yay, it works. I don't have to rely on configuring it through OBS, because OBS wasn't saving. Like, it was sort of saving the camera settings, but it wasn't. Like, it was resetting back to baseline every time, because I shut down my computer every night, or most nights. Last night I didn't. That's why I was on Discord most of the night, because I couldn't sleep. I wanted to. I very much wanted to sleep, but my body's like, what we're not doing tonight. So I was actually up trying to do some things here and there. Trying to get the flamingo gouache painting speed paint edited, because I think that's the last backloggy one that I owe you. I was gonna do a speed paint of the marble painting, but I seem to be missing part of it. So you won't be getting that. I don't know what happened. But I was very confused. I was like, right. That's okay. So we've got more than enough video editing to keep us occupied, because I'll be working on episode 10's speed felt soon. And then and then we'll have this one Friday. We don't have anything else in between. Whew. Yeah, being outside at night is always an adventure. Like, everybody's car headlights are absolutely blinding to me, whether I'm in the car or out of the car. So it's not that fun of a time. But we'll see. I'm hoping, now we're supposed to have the potential for severe storms. They're saying Monday, right? But looking at the weather forecast, it actually looks like Monday night into Tuesday. So I'm hoping that we don't get the super severe part of it, but at the very least it gets some of this pollen out of the air. That would be nice. Even if just for a couple of hours. Even just a small amount would help. Just a little bit. I need to find out. I don't know if it's possible, but I need to try to find out when the new elephant preserve is going to open at Tulsa Zoo. Because we need to take my mom to go see it. They've been working on this new elephant habitat for forever now. Their small elephant barn. I don't know if we could actually see into the barn, but like they had windows that you could look out and see the elephants in the yard near the windows. And one of the windows had a big ass crack in it. I don't necessarily know what caused the crack, but it was very interesting, and the crack was there for forever, or they didn't fix it, so I'm like, I guess it's okay. And the elephant area just looked very small to me, but they apparently finally got the land and I guess the building permits and everything approved, and they built this huge new elephant barn that guests are going to be able to enter, I guess. I think you're going to be up high and like looking down in, I think. And apparently the barn was pretty much done for the most part, where they were letting guests preview it a couple of weeks ago. It sounds like they're going to be getting some more elephants. And I think they had to get the elephants familiar with the new barn And they're supposed to have a lot more acreage for them to be roaming around on. And then there was something about how they're going to renovate the old building, the old elephant visitors area. I guess to make it more of like an education area. Like they had like an indoor little playground, I guess, to either get out of the rain or the heat for a minute. That the kids were always yelling and screaming in. But all they said was, oh, it's going to be opening later this year. When the news was there doing their hype walk. And I'm like, later this year? Why the hell are you doing it there now? Like, huh? I was confused. So I don't know when it's actually opening. Yeah, they're going to get like a bigger, like they're going to get more room to roam. And I think they said like 24 acres or something for the new preserve area for them to wander. And then these huge new barns. Like, we were watching them build the barns the last few times we were there. Like, you could see the construction guys out there, and they were pouring concrete and these huge thick steel beams and shit. But I have not yet seen a date for when they're opening it. And I feel really bad because when we first started going there, they were collecting money for their big cat area. They're still collecting for it. I feel like somehow elephants got bumped to the forefront. Or maybe an elephant enthusiast decided to donate the remaining amount. I don't know what happened there. But they're still trying to get money for the big cat stuff. Because we had seen signs about it. And I think the last time we were in the gift shop, somebody asked if we wanted to donate towards the like the lion area renovation. Unless now they're just waiting to finish with the elephants before they start another renovation. Which could be possible, because they were also working on renovating the flamingo building. The last time we were there, you couldn't even get near the flamingos. They had the bird building closed entirely that they were in. And they were redoing their pool outside. And they were adding like a shaded overlook, I think, that you could climb up. Unless that was going to be a different animal. We weren't really sure. It was a little confusing. And there weren't really signs, but that entire building was closed. And for a while they had the flamingos like in a slightly cordoned off area of chain link fence. So that they could still get outside from being inside. But I think that whole building was in the process of being renovated, which it's sorely needed. A lot of the stuff in there is very old. It feels original to when they first opened, like with the big thick metal railings, and then like the pit drop, and then like the little half moon semicircle area that the animals would be in, with like the weird rock stuff behind them that would hide the doors to their houses. Like, that's how old some of the parts of the zoo still are, that feel very, very original. So, see what happens. They have been doing upgrades lately. I don't remember when we were last there. Maybe October? Maybe. Whatever day we went, it was a decent day. There was still a lot of little kids, but it wasn't like a class trip day. Because Tulsa gets super hot. So I keep forgetting that even though we're only 2 hours away, which doesn't sound that far, a lot of the times their weather is very different than ours. So we won't be under a heat advisory here, but suddenly we will be there. And it's pretty tough sledding to walk around the zoo during a heat advisory with all the concrete. Like, they have this little train that they run around the zoo property. It's actually on a train track. And when it gets too hot, I guess because the metal might warp for the train to run on, or maybe the train gets too hot to the touch for the conductors. I don't know, because they're just like sitting in the open air. Or maybe they're afraid of little hands touching the sides of the train cars and getting burned. But like, the one day we went in and it's like, oh, train is closed due to inclement weather. And I looked at him, I'm like, what inclement weather? It's not supposed to rain today. And then I think we asked about it and they're like, yeah, when it gets above a certain temperature we don't run the train. And I was like, it's supposed to be that hot here today? I was very confused. I think he whipped out his phone and we looked it up, and they were actually under a heat advisory for the day, and we're like, oh. Our asses were toast by like 2. We usually try to stay till like 3:30 to get the most out of our money, but we were pretty banged up from the heat and trying to get into places to cool off a little bit. We're like, let's just go. Now, we haven't been to the Little Rock Zoo yet, because they're actually further than Tulsa. And we haven't gone to Springfield yet. Springfield, Missouri, to be more clear, since there's a ton of Springfields. I'm not sure when we might get around to doing that one. They are about the same distance as Tulsa, but I think we have to do a bit more up and down potentially to get there, like mountainy up and down. So I don't know, and I don't know if it's worth the 2-hour drive for us. I need to look at their zoo map again and figure out, see what the entrance fee is for there. We still want to go to Omaha, but because of all of the shit that went wrong with all of the house things, we're not able to do that this year. So we have to bump that back to sometime next year, potentially. I do want to get there at some point. But we'll see when that's able to happen. Alright. So we're just chugging away on this section here. We're getting there, slowly, but we're getting there. And I'm kind of nervous to do Atlanta because we've never really done big cities before, like stayed there. So it's a little overwhelming to me in my brain because I know shit costs a lot more to do stuff in like the big city hubs. Like, staying there is going to cost more, and parking and everything. Trying to figure out our way around. But I do want to do the aquarium in Atlanta eventually. That is on our bucket list. Won't be for some time for us to be able to stop there. I mean, we'll be going through Atlanta in September, potentially, if we're able to go. But we're not going to have the money to stop there, or the time, really. That is going to have to be a different adventure. But we've seen pretty decent things about that aquarium. I think it might be a little pricey, but it might be justified. Like, I don't mind paying the slightly higher entrance fees if it feels like it's worth it. Like, if I'm having a good time and I'm not constantly clock watching and I'm not bored, then that's a decent time. That's worth the entrance fee. And I believe there's also a zoo for Atlanta. I don't know much about it, though. But if we're gonna stay to do one, we might as well do both, right? Check them both off our list. We had a physical list. I don't know if we still do. Alright, we're getting there. Just have this little bit of brown to finish filling in. Will we have enough to at least do this section? Probably. Probably. But I have a feeling I'm gonna need to fluff some more of this before we go past this with the brown. We're not going to get too much further. So what happened to the metal beads that were on those wind chimes? Why did you have to replace them?
The what?
The metal clacker beads, or the glass beads on the flamingos. Why did you have to replace them?
Well, there was one missing.
Oh, there was one missing?
Yeah.
I thought it was just the wind catcher that was missing.
No.
I have two of the same identical flamingo wind chime that we had picked up at Walmart, so I kind of like bookended them on over our one flower box. And the last storm, they took quite a bit of battle damage. And the one little clacker, the one little wind fin that makes the clacker move. Hi, Momo. Give me just a minute, buddy.
I got you.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Alright.
I'd rather you didn't try to go outside.
I don't really want to go outside right now, but if I have to, I have to.
Well, you don't have to. Cow, do you need help getting down?
Where is he?
He looked like he was having trouble getting down. He was like leaning over and dragging stuff. Here, buddy. Need help?
He gets himself into those situations and then can't figure out how to get himself out of it.
Well, he is a cat.
But, so we had to replace, like, the thingy that catches the wind to make the little other thingy make the noises. And, because it was glass, apparently, and fell off and shattered into our planter box. I found a couple pieces of it this morning, actually. I threw it on top of that bucket.
And we still had another one, but I didn't want to just keep breaking them, so...
Yeah. So, I had this box years ago, and I mean years ago, when I still worked at AC Moore. They had this tub of wooden bits, is the only way I can describe it, that had been on sale. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, but I bought it, because it's me, and I'm like, oh, look at all these little pieces. And there was like drawer knob pulls and little tiny wooden like silhouetted birdhouses and some heart shapes that were like misshaped a little bit. There was like a couple wooden fence pieces, a little banner. There was like some pegs to like hang stuff on. Like it was just like odds and ends and bits and bobs. And I still have it. Some of it. Show my age here. I had gotten a... Oh, what the fuck was it called? I don't know the name of it. It's a weird name. And I don't know if they make them anymore. It's a... I want to keep calling it a Rolodex, but I know that's not a Rolodex. The Rolodex has like index cards on it for like addresses and phone numbers and stuff. It's kind of... I gotten it off of QVC. It's sort of like shaped like a house, like this box. So it's got like triangle sides here, or triangle sides. It's got straight sides here and like angled sides. So it kind of looks like a house, right? Like a silhouette of a house. Triangle sides. It has a little slide bar that you do, and you open it and it rolls out. Like there's all these little tiny compartments of stuff, and the thing is like 4 feet, maybe 4 feet long when you roll it out, right? It's got these little teeth that notch in and closes each compartment as you roll it over on itself. Kind of like you're rolling up a snail shell or whatever. And I still had it stored in there, like bits and pieces of it. So we were digging through that to try to figure out what we could use to make the little, to put on there to hit the tone bars to make the noise, and then we found something in there to try to use to catch the wind to make it bang all around. I'm like, I knew I would need this for something eventually. I was like, yay for keeping shit for forever. I mean, I had some, like, basswood squares that I probably could have cut down and used also if it came to it. Because you never know when you're gonna... Yeah, it's like... I was like, oh, I want this. So he just has these unfinished pieces that he kind of modified to try to fit on there. So we'll see how it goes. I did get all of our seeds planted, so I have no idea if they're actually going to grow. We'll find out. Got these little tiny, oh, what were they called? Acrylium? That doesn't sound right. Asium? I don't know, they're these little tiny short pink and white flowers for one of the flower boxes that we need to see over to pull out of the driveway. We got another round of morning glories to put in the one spot where they keep insisting on growing anyway. We got a different color. And we got some elephant ears for the front. We got some lupine, some tall thing. Kind of looks, I guess, similar to a snapdragon, but not exactly. Tall like that. For another place for his mom, even though she's not going to be here. Because she's leaving after she's done her doctor's appointments. And we got some colas, like the green leafy stuff, but I got variegated and multicolored, so hopefully we'll get some that have some pink running through it and some white. We'll see. We planted those around the elephant ears. Yeah, like, planting around here is a little funny because you never know when you're gonna, when your last freeze is actually gonna be. Like, the other night it dipped down to 38 and I was like, ah, fuck. Because apparently it's snowed at the end of April here before too, and I'm like, well, I don't know when to plant these, and they were all seeds, so I'm like, well, these fuckers are gonna take a while to grow if they do anything. Like, the only thing I've been able to successfully grow from seeds, it seems, is like cucumber plants and the wildflower seed mix from Dollar Tree. It's like the only thing I've been able to grow out there, it seems. No, we did grow the one set of elephant ears the one year. But those fuckers need a lot of water. Ugh. Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. The one pack of colas that we bought, I'm like, I don't hear anything in here. And I opened it, and Russell's the one that had grabbed all of the seed packs. And I guess he didn't shake it when he bought it, and somehow that seed pack didn't get filled. You have 4 succulents, or no, you have succulents that are almost 4 years old inside though. And you're proud of that? Yeah, I mean, those would be tough, right? Because you've got to know when just to water them and remember that you have them. George the aloe plant actually survived for quite some time. I had to keep repotting him. And we had to keep bringing him in when it got too cold out. He really needed to get repotted, and then he started having babies, or she, I guess, and new ones started growing off of it, and I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do with all this? And then when we split them, I guess we didn't do it right, and he died. Like, all of them died. But it's like, damn. Alright, I'm gonna mute for just a second. I've got to blow my nose. Alright, sorry about that. It's getting to the point where it was annoying me, so I'm like, yeah, I need to do something about that. Apparently I didn't get the ultra soft tissues, and I'm mad now. My face hurts every time the tissues touch it. So I've like started slathering all of my lotions that I have on there. But I don't like the lotion tissues. The lotion tissues feel greasy to me and I can't stand touching them. I think it's because sometimes I will use a tissue as a napkin, if that's what I've got. It's like, oh, I've got a couple of cookies. They're gonna make crumbs. Let me just sit them on this tissue. Can't do that with the lotion tissues. Oh, look. Let me just wipe this little tiny mark off my glasses. Oh, wait, these are lotion tissues. I can't do that. I feel like lotion tissues are limited to one task and one task only. And I hate the feel of them. They just feel greasy. I'm like, why? Like, it doesn't even feel like lotion either. It feels like Vaseline. And I know Vaseline makes a lotion, but I'd rather just put separate lotion on. Alright, what do we got out here? Do we have anybody loose? Did I use everybody? fan running. Yeah, it's just nasty. I'm sorry if you prefer them, but I have a thing with textures and stuff, and just, no, they're not it for me. I just can't. You can have my fair share of them if you enjoy using them. Anybody that likes using them, you can have mine. I will gladly give them to you. Hands down, no questions asked. Here, take them. And then the Vicks one is greasy and burnt. There's a tissue with Vicks in it? I didn't even know that. I couldn't imagine blowing my nose on a Vicks tissue. I've gotten Vicks up my nose accidentally before. Do not recommend. Because, oh my god, that burns, and it burns forever. They used to? Oh, okay. I know they make a Vicks, they make a Vicks cream now. Sorry, the phone is ringing. It's on the other side of the room. It's just gonna have to ring. I don't have my wireless headphones charged, so I'm not gonna be getting up. By the time I extract myself from where it was gonna stop ringing anyway. At this time of day, it was probably somebody from my mom anyhow. If they're looking for Russell, then they usually call Russell's cell phone. Yeah, don't rub your eyes. Like, oh my god. Yeah, I've gotten... They make a Vicks, they make a non-greasy version of Vicks in, like, a cream now that I had seen. And, like, I've got house shirts, and I've got leave the house shirts, because my house shirts, most of the time it's, like, stuff that I would sleep in or whatever. If I had a t-shirt on, like, I would inadvertently rub where I had Vicks on my shirt. And, so Vicks leaves, like, these greasy-ass stains on your clothes. Like, the regular, normal Vicks. Or at least for me, it does. I can't ever seem to get the stains out. It, like, keeps leaving this dark ring. And I'm like, ugh. Like, these dark spots. I'm like, fine, whatever. You're a shitty around the house shirt now. I don't care. I've got some shirts that I keep specifically that can be seen out in public. That aren't threadbare or holes in them or what have you. That aren't stained to high heaven. And I would get the normal Vicks spots on them. Because, you know, I just wouldn't be thinking, or in my sleep, I would just, like, rub it on there. And I saw this cream, and the cream said it was non-greasy. And I was like, ooh, it's like a lotion. I haven't noticed it stain any of my clothes. Like, if I've accidentally gotten it on, like, the edge of my shirt or whatever. But I will say it doesn't seem as strong as the jar one. I like the... Oh, I still have some out. I like the jar one for the strength. But if I need to, like, rub it on my chest, then the lotiony one's a little bit better. Because, it's not, like, super greasy, and I haven't noticed it leave any marks on my shirts or anything. However, I will say the lotion one feels like it leaves a film behind. So, gotta wash that off. Or else you're gonna feel like your skin can't breathe in that spot for a bit until you wash that section off. So, I mean, I gave it a shot. It was a little expensive, but the jar of Vicks is super expensive too. For me, I think it's expensive. But everything's expensive to me lately, so. But yeah, don't rub your eyes and don't get it up your nose, because oh my god. When I had put the Vicks in my bowl of hot water, like I said last night, or excuse me, this morning, I was like, oh, mistakes were made. Like, instantly, I could almost taste it in the back of my throat. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. They tell you not to put it in hot water for a reason, I guess. There's like specific ones for humidifiers and stuff, like specific like sleeves or something. Some humidifiers have an actual port specifically to put like Vicks additive into. They used to have these little Vicks inhale. Russell's got one. We started seeing ads for it now. They were like about the size of something. Well, this is their newer one. Yeah. And because he was having anxiety trouble driving and allergies and stuff, he would while he was driving, he would be like, "Can you open the Vicks stick?" And if there was like a smell that was starting to upset him, or if he was just getting upset, like it was a constant, like it was a familiar smell, so he could calm down smelling it. And they would clear his sinuses out too, especially if they were starting to get dry, with us being in drier areas or just in areas we weren't used to. And I was like, somebody's gonna end up pulling us over. Not knowing what the fuck you are doing. And this is going to be all sorts of awkward to explain. But yeah, he used it and he was like, oh my god. He's like, I don't think this is really going to do anything, but fine. Because I had seen it, because I had suggested it to him, because he always has a bottle of like saline nose spray whenever we have to go anywhere for a distance. And he's like, I don't know about this. He goes, I'll try it. And he tried it and he's like, oh my god. Because I did not think that was going to do anything. He needs to get a new one though. I think the last one he had was used when we had COVID back in February. They do work, just not for a long time. Yeah, he has one of those too. I've tried to do like the nasal sprays, like the saline stuff. Never really felt like it did anything for me. Alright, we got just a little bit more here. And then because of my nosebleeds, the one doctor's like, no, do saline spray. And I'm like, yeah, okay. All that did was make it burn and my nose was still bleeding. Like, I made a half decent effort to try to use that thing. For like 2 weeks straight. Didn't notice a lick of improvement. Not at all. All it did was make my nose burn. The one with aloe, the one without aloe, none of them. I had this one nasal spray that I started using when we first moved down here. Because when we first moved down here, I was pretty much kind of sick like this because I couldn't breathe. And we thought I just had to get used to the new area. Tried eating local honey. That shit didn't help at all. You name it, I tried it. And I can't remember if it was from Dayquil or if it was from Vicks. This was like 8 years ago now. No, maybe closer to 10 years ago now. I don't even know if they still make it. Where it was a decongestant nasal spray. Can't remember which one of those. Though I think Vicks owns Dayquil. So in the end, it's probably the same company. And it did say on it could become habit forming. And they were not joking. It worked really well. And I was so obsessed with it because I could breathe unimpeded for the first time in like months after moving down here. And I was like, oh my god. But the more I used it, even though I was using it within the time slot on there, I was finding that it was wearing off faster and faster. And I wanted to keep using it more and more. Until the point where I was like trying to use it like once an hour. And it was like every 4 to 6. And I'm like, oh, I have to stop. And I threw it away. I'm like, no, we can't use this anymore. This is bad. Stop it. But I miss that damn thing so much sometimes. Because it was so nice being able to breathe normally. At least for a little while. Probably Sudafed, like they make the drugs from. Yeah, probably. Like, I was really tempted last night to fucking go to a gas station and see if I could fucking find it. I was like, because nothing's open 24 hours anymore, and I can bet you sure as shit if Walmart had been open, I would have been like, come on, we need to go and find something. Like, I was trying to make my own Breathe Right strip with a fucking Band-Aid last night. I've never used the original Breathe Right strips, but I was desperate. I was like, I can't fucking breathe. It was horrible. I've never used those before, and all I had was a Band-Aid, so I'm like, well, let me try the Band-Aid, and all the Band-Aid did was make my skin crawl, because it was touching me on my nose. What's up?
Oh, the person's here to ask some questions about Mike.
Oh, okay. Trying to sell the exercise bike that we had got, and realized, Russell realized he's a fat guy trying to ride an exercise bike, and all it was doing was pinching bits that didn't want to be pinched. So, even changing the seat didn't really help, so he kind of gave up on that. And I'm like, oh good, we have a $300 coat rack now. So, he's trying to sell it at the neighbor's yard sale. That's why I was really nervous when he was like, oh, let's... Yeah, like, I used to be able to ride a bike all the time. It's how I got around a lot of the time in high school and around town and stuff, and where I was, if the area was rideable, I would try to ride. And then we moved around a few times where it wasn't such a great area to be out riding a bike in, and then the brakes kind of went on the bike, and so I stopped being I stopped riding, so my ass was not used to riding anymore. And, my ass, my legs, all of it. And, I tried to use it, and oh my god, did it hurt. Not doable for me. I was like, well, this is yours anyway. We didn't buy it for me. And then he tried to use it a few times, and then nothing really came of it, so I was real nervous when he's like, no, let's get a treadmill. And I'm like, see, I kind of wanted the treadmill instead of the exercise bike, but we ended up getting the exercise bike instead. And I'm like, are we really going to use it? Because I do not want to spend $300+ on another piece of exercise equipment that's just going to sit there and not get used. And I've used it more than he's has since we've gotten it. But I had to take a couple weeks off because I was so sore. And I wasn't sure if it was my shoes or if my body was just mad at how much I was walking. So I might start that back up again this week and maybe only do like every other day. And my mom was like, oh, how much weight have you lost? You look like you've lost some weight. And I'm like, no, Mom. I haven't lost shit. I actually gained weight when I started walking every day on the treadmill. I gained like 5-10 pounds. Well, no, maybe closer to 5 pounds. And she's like, no, your pants look loose on you. You've lost some weight. I was like, no, go tell that to the scale, because the scale says I've gained weight. And Russell's like, well, you're probably just retaining water or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I am, but... Or it's like joint inflammation from my joints being angry. But like, even my arches were hurting, and I'm like, ugh, why? And that was walking in sneakers. I had some Skechers that I was walking in. But I swear to God, I don't know if, like, the shoes that get sent to, like, the discount stores, like, I don't even know if Payless still exists, or, like, Shoe Carnival was selling Skechers. And I found a pair of the, like, elastic lacy ones that were just, like, lightweight, super lightweight slip-on type deals. I don't know if my body is that fucked up and overly sensitive to stuff. I'm, like, way over the line here, but it doesn't look like we're over the line, right? Like it's straight. Unless I just managed to keep it straight off the line. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, I swear to God, the left foot and the right foot on that pair of shoes don't feel the same. You just don't think the 5-year-old make shoes like they used to, honestly. Yeah, probably not. I guess they aged out of the factory or something, because I swear my right foot feels way different than my left foot. Now, it could just be that my right foot... Get off of my chair, sir. Maybe my right foot's just more fucked up and swells more. I don't know. But right foot feels so much tighter. And I swear I'm feeling the sole of the shoe from the inside. Like, the way it hits the ground, and I feel like I'm feeling everything through it. And the other one I don't feel quite the same. And it's disturbing to me. Did they buy it?
No. Nancy knows a person that sells stuff on Marketplace.
Uh-huh.
So she's gonna set that up.
I don't trust selling shit on Marketplace.
No.
You get a lot of fuckwits
Wow.
They're like, how much is it? And they're like, no, you said it was free. It's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, well, she's gonna send me her. I'm gonna get a text from her, so I know her number, and then she's gonna send them along to us. Because she couldn't take the bike with her. So if they want to come pick it up, they'll have to come here.
But she didn't buy it from you.
No, she just does other stuff, hon.
Okay.
She's a middle person.
Is she expecting a payment for being a middle person?
She gets it like 15%. It's okay. It's still better than nothing.
Oh, this feels dumb.
Yeah.
This feels like more bullshit than it's necessarily worth. Alright, what time is it? 3:20. Alright, what color did we say this grass was gonna be? Grass background. Green, yellow, and brown dirt. So the chocolate brown, the buttercup yellow, the light green, and the forest green. But I need to leave this one out invisible so I remember to put more fluff. Because I keep forgetting. But I don't know what it is. Like, the shoes feel like two completely different shoes, and they're the same shoe. My brother had sent me some stupid shoes. I might try a pair of those. I want to get a pair of Keds, because those actually have, arch support on them. What did I get the olive green for? Side shrub. Well, what the fuck is the side shrub? Path. Is there side shrubs here? There might be side shrubs on the barn. Lake shrubs. I guess we'll figure that out when we get there. I suppose. There's the light green. My notes made sense then. They don't make sense anymore. Buttercup yellow. Yeah, so I don't know if it's a shoe issue at this point. I kind of want to get some Keds. Apparently they sell them at Shoe Carnival. Forest green. Is that you? So, yeah, like my notes made sense at the time. They don't seem to make sense anymore to my brain, but okay. I knew what it meant then. I don't know what it means now. What the fuck did I mean by side shrub? I guess we'll figure it out when we get there. I don't know. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. His mom has a Prime account. It's how we order shit through Amazon. And I was so happy when something actually came out on Prime that we could watch. Are we 3 or 4 episodes in? We're at least... I think we're 3 episodes in. Because his D&D night got canceled. Because the one chick just can't make that day anymore. Life's too busy. And his other friend, they were just gonna do like nerdy stuff together, like games or watch stuff, whatever, together in between his college classes. So that was gonna be on Wednesdays, and so now we're making a night of it when he gets done with whatever he needs to do for the day. Like once we all have dinner and stuff, we're doing a watch party now. And we're watching it through Discord together. So yeah, we're gonna do it the one day a week that he has free that he can dick around on. So we had time to watch 3 episodes Wednesday. I like it so far. Very Fallout gory. I know there's like some people are like, oh, this is messy or bad or for whatever XYZ reasons, and I'm like, you're nitpicking too hard for what it is. It's actually for a show, for a video game TV show. It's actually done pretty damn well. You're obsessed with the ghoul? Yeah, I can't wait to find out more of that dude's story. And like it was much better done. Like I've seen some exceptional fan nerds critiquing a little too hard, I think. Like being a little too, well, this is structurally a mess, and I don't know why people are raving about this. This is horrible. Like they're like, it's okay, but it doesn't deserve like this much. And I'm like, my guy, if you're not feeling it, that's fine. But it wasn't that bad. Like, it was like some guy on Twitter I saw was like, and I'm like, I understand that you might not be feeling it, and that's cool. But it's really not that bad. And compared to other video game TV shows, it's actually pretty damn good. And actually looks appropriate and feels appropriate. I don't care if you don't like the way that part of the story's going, but that's more a personal opinion. But it feels right, it looks right, and it's flowing decently from what I've seen so far. So I'm like, huh? I don't... Oh, shit. If we have to do this backwards. Yeah, like, I mean, I think they're just being too nitpicky. Like, it wasn't really supposed to be following any specific, like, game storyline. It's just, it's in that setting. Like, it fits. And it was appropriate, and nothing seemed too terribly outlandish. Yeah. I'm like, my guy. What? It's fine. It's pretty good. Like, I think they did better, in my personal opinion. The Fallout TV show felt pretty damn good and felt more appropriate than the WoW movie did. And I know they're two different things, sort of, but I feel like the Fallout thing, you know, yeah, maybe their budget was a little bit bigger, but it made more sense than some of the stuff in the WoW movie. Yeah, like, now technology has probably improved since then, but this felt like there was more passion and more dedication to getting it right and getting the feeling right than like the WoW movie. And I liked the WoW movie kind of when it came out, but some of it was kind of eh. And they had like, they were sort of following storyline that already existed for the WoW movie, so I was really confused about why it felt so empty. And I did like it, but after seeing the Fallout show and what they can really do with it and run with was way better. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like, I don't know, maybe for the WoW movie they were too tied into following a preconceived idea. I don't know. It felt like I guess they were trying to follow, like, story lore a little too hard, maybe. I don't know. They changed weird shit in, like, it just, there were places where I was like, huh? Now, I mean, I don't know if the Prime guys could do it better. I just think that the guys that worked on this show, it definitely felt like they knew what they were doing. Like, when we were seeing the photos of the sets and stuff come out, Russell and I were getting excited for the Fallout thing, and I'm like, wow. And I was like, it actually looks like it's in Fallout. It's dirty, it's gritty. It looks like time has touched it. When we were seeing the photos when they were coming out, and we were getting excited then. Russell's like, well, don't get your hopes up too hard. He goes, it still could end up being shit. And I was like, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. The feel's right. Yeah, it feels like you could load in and be like, I know that place, or I know a place similar. Because I don't think we've seen any of that specific area in game, because it, or at least what Fallout I've played. I think 76 was mostly, I know I'm a heathen that's only really played 76. Mostly like East Coast Virginia area. And I kept asking him, I said, where the hell is this? Like, where are they? And he goes, I think they're in California? It's like, I don't know. He goes, I think they are, because they showed the Hollywood sign. Especially the last scene in the last episode, you knew exactly what they were showing. Oh, I can't wait till we get there. It's probably going to take us probably 2 more weeks to get there. Russell's like, I've actually been avoiding spoilers, and I'm like, really? That's impressive for you, as much as you hang out on Reddit and stuff. He gets so mad at me because, like, he hangs out on Imager and Reddit and stuff, and I'll hear him, like, typing furiously across the room. I'm like, uh-oh, keyboard warrior, Reddit warrior's at it again. He's like, stop it. I was like, I am not. I'm like, I know, I'm just messing with you. He goes, somebody had a question and I'm just answering it. Okay, so I forgot that I kind of wanted this stuff to, like, angle downward a little bit, which is why I started over here. I was like, oh wait, if we angle down, it's gonna layer funny. So if we want this to kind of be like the front layers on top of this. I had to start back here. Kitty, what are you doing? Sorry, I didn't mean to get my head in the shot. My gray hair. My dye job. My pink hair is slowly growing out. I need to redo my hair in August. Just in case we're still able to go in September if the weather cooperates. But I need to do it like the middle of August. So hopefully my hair's done dripping pink everywhere every time it gets wet by the time we go. I'm still gonna bring my own towel, but last thing I want is for hotel staff to freak out that I stained their towels. It hasn't stained a towel yet of mine. It's washed out every time. But I don't want them trying to be like, it's not gonna come out. So I just bring my own towel if my hair's been dyed. It's just easier. So we mixed our buttercup yellow, our light green, and our forest green, which is a new to us color. As we get our grassy guys in here. Camera's kind of picking it up. If that's blurry, let me know. I'll adjust the focus. I honestly don't think somebody trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace is worth. I've heard horror stories of people trying to sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. But maybe those are not the majority. I don't know. Alright, let's work on getting this put into here. Yeah, I'm intrigued to know or get to further into the Gold Dude's story. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if the mother-in-law went to pick up our dinner yet. My mom's like, I'm just gonna buy us dinner tonight because nobody felt great. I do a lot of the flashbacks with him. Yeah, the flashbacks have been super interesting. Oh, I feel some sneezes coming. The roof of my mouth started getting itchy. So like I'm crushed, but I'm not abominably crushed like I was last night. I feel like they get into things more than the game. Yeah, it's nice getting a little bit more backstory. And it's nice that it's like playing out and we get to third person watch it than necessarily being like directly involved in it or trying to put all the tiny little bits and pieces together. Because I forget shit. So if I'm on a quest chain about somebody's backstory, I'm gonna forget what the first quest said by the time I get to checkpoint B, and then I'm confused. Yeah, the terminals are a little tough for me. I process things a little bit more slowly when I'm reading them, and especially if I don't have the proper time to read them. And whenever Russ and I are playing together, because I'm a slower reader and process things a little bit longer, I feel like I'm holding him up a lot of the time. So I'm like, just tell me, what's the point of this? So I end up with like the condensed down versions a lot of the times, because I don't feel like holding him up. And sometimes I don't try to go back and play through it on my own, but I don't always. Did she leave yet?
Hmm?
Did she leave yet?
No.
When is she leaving?
I don't know. What time are we supposed to have her leave?
I don't know. I thought you said a time.
No. I'd wake her up about 4 o'clock.
Okay, traffic's gonna be a mess, but I hate 5 o'clock traffic in Fayetteville. I mean, it's a Sunday, so maybe it won't be quite so bad. It's a Sunday and it's not football season, so maybe it'll be okay. During the week, 5 o'clock traffic down or up in Fayetteville is horrible. The interstate exits back up well onto the interstate. I think it's exit 62 and is it exit 64? Get so backed up. But I guess since Russell's not driving, he doesn't care. They had to go to Walmart last night so she could get a Roku stick, because one of our Fire sticks, we have 2, we can't find one, and the other one seemed defective, where all it did was like try to load stuff and cycle and never actually let you get anywhere with it. And apparently their cell phone plans got access to Hulu, which I didn't know. I was like, is that why the cell phone bill's so high? Can you guys just drop Hulu? He goes, no, I think it's baked into the phone plan. I was like, well, can you get a different plan? To maybe drop the cell phone bill a little bit if she's so worried about how much the bills are. Like, it's just his phone and his mom's phone. Like, I don't have a phone on this plan. I didn't need a phone because I'm always with him. But they needed to have the unlimited data, which is probably really why it's so expensive. Like, we need the unlimited data for when we're on the road, for like the GPS and stuff. And then sometimes he'll like load up YouTube or something and forget that it's loaded in. So we're kind of getting there. His grass is a little bit thicker than ours, but I think that's okay that we have some dirt poking through there. Sorry, I just didn't feel like adjusting the camera out. It's 3:45. I think we'll pause there because it's going to involve me mixing more color, and I hate trying to hold on to a mixed color overnight to keep it from getting weird or the cat's running off with it. So I think we will pause there for tonight. I kind of like this forest green with the way it's mixing with our light green and our yellow. It feels a bit more grassy, so I'm glad we got that color. That is helping that to blend together a bit better. But we haven't done too bad here tonight. I said that funny, but yeah, I mean, we got all of our dirt filled into here, and we're working on getting our grass laid in through here, and then this side we'll probably start with the grass up here and then work this way forward, just so things look like they're laying appropriately. But so far I think we're looking pretty good. Oh, my fingers are sweating with these guys on. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we're sitting at the moment. It definitely feels more Bob Ross than episode 10 did. Excuse me. I didn't end up needing this today. My hands weren't abysmally slippery. So I am going to try to stream tomorrow. That's the plan. Hopefully life doesn't get in the way. I know Monday hasn't been working out so well, but we're going to try. Hopefully things behave themselves. And we'll be able to get a session in tomorrow. So, Boz, you have a good night. Hopefully your work day goes okay tomorrow. Hope everybody's week starts out fairly decently. I thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon. Don't forget to follow the links to the socially do's down below. Got the link for the Ko-fi, the Instagram, the Twitter, and the YouTube. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone.